Okay, welcome. We are following along in our sheet. We are now at Roman numeral 3, letter D, okay? The fast days. We talked about the holidays, the days where there's celebrations of one kind or another. Fast days are days we don't eat or drink, and these are days of, of some more severity, okay? So they're listed here in the in how they occur in the calendar, which is not necessarily the order. I don't know if that's the best way to conceptualize them, but we'll go through in the calendar order. Tzom Gedalia, the fast of Gedalia, is the third day of the year. So it's the day after Rosh Hashanah. So it's sort of like a little feasting, fasting, yo-yo diet, okay? But it is actually a fast that commemorates a particular historical event. It commemorates the assassination of Gedaliah. Gedaliah was the governor the Babylonians put in. Welcome, Stacy. So glad to have you with us again. Hi. I'll share, I think because you just joined us, to share again the little curriculum. We're now in Roman numeral 3, letter D, okay? So Tzom Gedalia, okay, the day after Rosh Hashanah, commemorates the assassination of Gedaliah. This is recorded in the book of Jeremiah. After the temple was destroyed by the Babylonians, they put Gedaliah in charge, and there were Jewish zealots, fanatics, political fanatics, extremists, who thought that he was a collaborator because he was working for the Babylonians. The Babylonians had destroyed the temple and exiled our king and killed so many people, and he was their man. They put him in charge. So he was assassinated by somebody who thought he was being a patriot. And the outcome of Gedaliah's assassination was even more destruction and more exile, and and just more harm. Okay, so we sort of a day of mourning for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, a day of mourning for destruction of the temple, but it is like the date is significant because it's the anniversary of the assassination of Gedaliah. Okay, and it happens to be the day after Rosh Hashanah, which is fine. It's a minor fast day, by which I mean it's a fast day that starts with what do you call it, before sunrise, dawn, okay, when it starts getting light in the sky, and lasts until it gets dark at night. So, which means that in Chicago in like late September, that means, I don't know, it starts at like 4:35 in the morning and goes until, I don't know, like 7 o'clock at night or something like that. Okay, so it's not so terrible. You can wake up before the fast starts, have an egg, fry yourself an egg, and have a big cup of coffee or whatever, have a nice big breakfast, and then you're, which I recommend, because then you're not so hungry and you get some caffeine, and you're not, so that's something you can do. But in the course of the fast day, no eating or drinking. Those are the restrictions for Tzom Gedalia. The minor fast days start when it gets light in the morning, go until the end of the day, and the only restrictions are eating and drinking. The next fast in the calendar is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a very serious day. It's in the Torah itself as a day of atonement, a day when you're supposed to fast. And it's like that's the major observance of the day. It's a yontif, so we don't do work, we don't use electronics and travel and light fires and all that stuff, and also we don't eat or drink. Yom Kippur has additional restrictions as well. We also refrain from sexual intimacy, and refrain from wearing shoes, and refrain from anointing ourselves, and from washing. Okay, so we have a full panoply of afflictions in Yom Kippur. In terms of wearing shoes, many people will wear like, non-leather shoes, which, were invented more recently and maybe aren't really considered shoes, not real shoes, so people wear like Crocs or flip-flops or, Converse, they're like simple shoes. Another way to do it is to go barefoot where it's safe to do that, and just wear your regular shoes where it's unsafe to be barefoot. So you can wear your regular shoes when you're out in the street and just take off your shoes when you come inside. That also works. So that's Yom Kippur. And there, the fast Yom Kippur, we're like such a holy day. We're like angels in Yom Kippur. We leave aside all of our bodily existence and exist in like really just an intimacy with God, in the shul all day, in prayer, like to such a holy day. Who needs to eat or drink? Okay, on Yom Kippur. The next, and Yom Kippur is a 25-hour fast day, right? It's a yontif, so the fast starts at sunset and goes until dark. So it's a 25-hour fast. So it doesn't matter when the year it occurs, where you are, it's like 25 hours, where it always goes from sunset to nightfall, like Shabbat, okay, 25 hours. I'd say, I don't know, it still feels, I don't know, when you're eating at like 8 p.m. versus 9 p.m. versus 7:30, I feel it still makes a difference, but the truth is it's always 25 hours, no matter, what time it ends. Next in the calendar, next fast in the calendar is Asara B'Tevet. Asara B'Tevet, the 10th of Tevet, is usually in December. And this is another one of the fasts to commemorate the destruction of the temple. On the 10th of Tevet, the Babylonians breached the walls of Jerusalem. They laid siege to Jerusalem, sorry. So it's sort of a day when like the destruction was kind of, the die was cast, the destruction was going to come. So that's one of those Beit HaMikdash fasts. It's a minor fast, so it starts when it gets light in the morning and goes until dark. In the Northern Hemisphere, Asar B'Tevet tends to be the shortest fast, right? Because it starts at like 6 a.m. and is over at like 5:30 or something, right? So, or even sometimes even earlier. So it's relatively easy. You can wake up before it gets light, have a big breakfast, and you eat dinner. You skip lunch, and then the fast is over. So it's pretty relatively easy. And again, it's the prohibitions are eating and drinking only. Okay, next is Tanya Esther. Tanya Esther is fast of Esther. This is the day before Purim, and we're sort of commemorating Esther's penance and repentance and prayer and preparation for her meeting Achashverosh to pray on behalf of the Jewish people and have us get saved. And that is also a minor fast that starts with light in the day and goes until dark. But Tanya Esther ends as Purim begins. So usually we go, when it gets dark, we then read the Megillah, and only then do we eat. So it actually ends up getting pretty late, a little bit later until we eat, but everyone's so excited about the Megillah that, no one's really bothered, okay? So that's Tanya Esther. Sometimes if Purim is on, depending on the day of the week that Purim occurs, Tanya Esther might get pushed off to Purim is Sunday. We don't observe Tanya Esther on Shabbat, nor do we observe it on Friday. It gets pushed off until Thursday before. So you might fast on Thursday and Purim is on Sunday night. Or Saturday night, Sunday. Saturday night Purim, is that a thing? There's no Saturday night Purim. That can't be. When do we push off? I don't remember. Anyway, in any case, Tanya Esther can't be on a Friday, so it gets pushed off till Thursday in some years. Okay. What am I forgetting? What's the calendrical oddity that pushes Tanya Esther back a day? I'm pretty sure we don't fast on Friday. My birthday is sometimes on Purim or Tanya Esther, so that's also, I remember it was my birthday one year. Exactly, it was just my whatever, and exactly where it was, but that doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. Okay, let's continue. Tanya Bechorim. This is sort of a fast. This is the fast of the firstborn, the day before Passover. There's a custom that all the firstborn, certainly firstborn sons, maybe firstborn daughters as well, fast to commemorate the fact that God spared the Hebrew firstborn children when the Egyptians were firstborns were killed in the 10th plague. So to commemorate the 10th plague, right before Passover, we firstborn children fast as well. Now this fast is, it's really a bad idea to fast on Erev Pesach on the day before Passover because you have to clean the house and cook and get ready and traveling to visit family. And this fast is also not discussed in the Talmud at all. It's a relatively late custom to develop. And so people tend to get out of this fast. If there's a Sudat mitzvah, if there's a mitzvah meal to eat, then you don't have to fast on this fast of Erev Pesach. So what's a mitzvah meal? A mitzvah meal, if you have a bris, a brit milah, circumcision feast, that would get you out of the need to fast on Erev Pesach. Or if you make a siyum, if you complete some significant Torah learning project, you can have a Torah party, a siyum, and special prayers are said upon completing a tractate of Talmud. Some significant learning project is completed, and then everyone can celebrate together and have a meal, and that's a Sudat mitzvah. That's a mitzvah meal, and so that enables you to break the fast. And once you break the fast with the mitzvah meal, you can eat the rest of the day. So the custom is everyone goes to shul the morning before Passover to participate in a siyum. Somebody completes some learning project and everyone eats a little bit, and then they're able to, then they don't have to fast on Erev Pesach. And one year I missed the siyum because I was traveling to family out of town, and on my way to the airport early in the morning, and I missed the siyum and I fasted that day. It was terrible because everyone else, my cousins in Florida was by the pool and they were lounging, and then I was like, thirsty and tired and grouchy. It was like not a good way to go into Passover. So definitely make sure you attend to see them. If you can't attend, you can do the learning by yourself. Make it for yourself on the airplane if you need to, or call in even to someone else and participate that way. If you don't want to fast on Erev Pesach. I don't know if any of your firstborns, maybe it's not relevant, but in case you are. Some pregnant women will fast when they're pregnant with their first child, will fast on behalf of their fetus, or who's not born yet. Okay. Next, Shivasar B'Tammuz. Shivasar B'Tammuz, 17th of Tammuz. This is we just have this, right? This is in the summer. This is the day when the Roman armies breached the walls of Jerusalem. So it's really leading to the destruction of the temple, setting in motion a period of 3 weeks until Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, when the temple was actually destroyed. Okay, so those 3 weeks are weeks without weddings and haircuts, and we sort of prepare and shaving maybe, and we get ready we are increased in our mourning leading up to Tisha B'Av, the saddest day in the Jewish calendar, when not only was the first temple destroyed, but the second was also destroyed on the same day, and many other terrible things in Jewish history happened on Tisha B'Av over the centuries. So a very, very sad day. Shivasar B'Tammuz is also a Shivasar B'Tammuz is also a minor fast day. Starts when it gets light and goes until dark, but in the Northern Hemisphere, it's in the summer, and so it tends to be a very long fast. It starts at like 4:30 in the morning, goes until, could be until 9 o'clock or 8:30 or something like that. So it's a pretty long fast. Tisha B'Av is a 25-hour fast, like Yom Kippur. And Tisha B'Av also has all of the restrictions against sexual intimacy and wearing shoes and anointing and washing, okay? But very different vein. In Yom Kippur, it's like, I'm so holy, I'm so happy, I'm so intimate with God, I'm this atonement and God's presence here as a judge and a forgiving judge, and like I'm an angel, I'm not eating. And Tisha B'Av, I'm so depressed and sad that how could I even think about myself? And I can't think about eating. It's a very different valence, okay? If you want to remember the fast days, bracketing Tanah the fast of the firstborn before Pesach, which nobody really fasts. When to avoid the fast, we have the fast of the man and the woman, the black and the white, the long and the short. Okay, that's how you can remember them. The man and the woman refers to Gedalia and Esther, right? Okay, 2 fasts that can commemorate named after people. The long and the short, that's Asar B'Tevet, which is very short in the winter, and Shivasar B'Tammuz, which is very long in the summer. Or in Australia, the opposite, the long and the short. And the black and the white is Tisha B'Av, when synagogue is covered in, often many synagogues are covered in black drapes, and we remove the curtains, and we turn off the lights in the synagogue. And Yom Kippur, when people dress in white, and we put white curtains and stuff in the synagogue. So black and white, man and woman, long and short. Those are the 6 fast days. So the liturgy gives you minor and major. So like the minor ones are half days, the major ones are full days. So Yom Kippur is a major fast because it says in the Torah, okay, like this is a day of fasting. So all the days in Judaism start at sunset and go for the following day. I guess the minor fast days, they're like really minor. So we only fast like part of the day. And Tisha B'Av gets like bumped into, even though it's not in the Torah, because it's like so many bad things happened, we observe it for a full 25 hours with all the additional restrictions and afflictions as well. Everything in Judaism, which is forbidden temporarily, it's not because that thing is bad. It's because we refrain from doing it for a period of time in order to go back to doing it again with greater focus, intentionality, and perspective. Okay? That's anything prohibited for a period of time. So eating on Yom Kippur, we're not, eating is not bad, eating is very good, but we're going to refrain from eating and then go back to eating with greater sensitivity and context, and maybe have more sympathy for those who are always hungry, without choice. Is that right? And I think you can, any temporary prohibition of any activity, you can, I think this holds true for. Does that answer your question, Lily? Okay.
Yes, thanks. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Let's, okay. On the fast days, we have special liturgy. We have penitential prayers called slichot that we recite in the morning and as part of before Shachrit or in the middle of Shachrit on the fast days. And we have additions to the Amidah, the standing devotional prayer. There's an addition that the prayer leader, the Shlich Tzibor, adds to Shachrit, the morning service, during the communal Amidah, when he repeats the Amidah out loud. And then everyone fasting adds a paragraph to their Amidah at Mincha time. You don't add it to Shachrit because maybe you won't be able to complete your fast. But Mincha, you already know. It's like the day's almost over, so you fasted. You add this paragraph to your Amidah at Mincha time. And we also read Torah at Mincha time on fast days. It's a beautiful Torah portion from Exodus 23, I think, where God teaches Moshe how to pray for forgiveness. And the Haftarah that we read is also a Haftarah. We read 3 Aliyot from Exodus 23 at Mincha time on a fast day, and then we read a Haftarah. It's one of those beautiful Haftarot, the Haftarah from Mincha on a fast day from Isaiah, where God promises that anyone, doesn't matter if you are Jewish or not, doesn't matter if you have, your own children, or whether you're even capable of having your own children, anyone who lives a godly life, God promises to remember them and will preserve their name and legacy forever. It doesn't matter, who you are, where you come from, or just if you're a righteous person, God will remember you. So it's really, really beautiful. We'll have to, and it ends with Isaiah saying, "And my house shall be a house of prayer for all people." It's a very, very beautiful, powerful, universal message. It's really sweet. So you should come to shul on a fast day, and you get to hear it read. Any other questions on this whole section? We did this relatively fast this time. I don't know if you go back to the YouTube channel and you watch me teach this material, 5 or 6 years ago. I think it went slower. I think I got a little more fast now. Questions, comments? We go on. Got a few minutes. We do another little section. We start the next section. Okay with that? Okay. So the next section, Roman numeral 4, is keeping kosher. Okay, so let's start with A and B. A and B. Okay, so the Torah prohibits us from eating certain foods. Many theories about why, what that signifies. Maybe I'll say 2 of them right now. One is Torah seems to have a system of it's not the Torah, right? I mean, our sense of cleanliness and goodness is very much built on things being in their proper place and categories being clear and defined. Okay, so this is the anthropologist Mary Douglas. Alex just asked. Alex, I'm repeating your question out loud because it's a good question. How do you watch past videos? So there's an Anshe Shalom YouTube channel called, I think it's called ASBI Congregation, I think is the name of the channel. If you have difficulty finding it, let me know. I think there's information about it in the shul bulletin as well. Links probably on the website. So the shul has a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel has many past shiurim classes, including past editions of this class, and including prior cycles through this class going back years. So I think they're called season 5, class 2 or class 12 or something. So the season means how many iterations through have I taught this, and the class number is the class number. So for example, you might go to your younger brother and put your hand on his head and give him a kiss on his head, and that's totally normal. But if you find a hair in your soup, that's really gross. Okay, so the sense of dirtiness and cleanliness is not about the thing itself. It's about things being in places where they belong, or where you think they belong. And really our sense of dirtiness and violation and contamination is from something in a wrong place, not something in a proper place. Okay, because it's right. We all walk down the sidewalk even though dogs pee on the sidewalk. Okay, but if a person were to urinate on the sidewalk, that would be gross. You would not want to walk down that sidewalk. You would feel ugh. Okay, I'm not going to walk on the sidewalk because a person just peed on that sidewalk 10 minutes ago. I'm going to cross the street to avoid walking across this part of the sidewalk. But nobody bats an eye walking on the sidewalk where dogs are peeing. Okay, that's another example. Okay, our sense of contamination and dirt is about things being in their proper place, where we want them, where we expect them. And so in the Torah too, animals are a certain way, and birds are a certain way, and fish are certain, fish are fins and scale, and things that break out of the system and a little bit different, an animal, that has a pig has a split hoof, but it doesn't chew its cud. It's mixing categories, and things that live in the sea but don't have scales. It's mixing categories, and so that's that sort of fits in maybe in some ways the Torah's general system, which is how human beings think about cleanliness and contamination. But also maybe the whole thing is arbitrary. In fact, the Torah says, I have separated you as well from other, right? The chosenness of the Jewish people is arbitrary, right? We're not really any different than anyone else, but God said, I want to give you mitzvot and give you a special role, and so too, you're going to eat certain things and not eat certain things. It's totally arbitrary, right? It means nothing, right? Or there's no. It's not healthier. It's not cleaner. It's not right. It's just God arbitrarily chose that these things you eat, these things you don't eat. Just like God arbitrarily chose, you're going to be Jewish. I'm going to give you the Torah, and you're going to have several mitzvot. So God makes arbitrary choices, and so we replicate those arbitrary choices. And holiness is about making choices, about refraining from things, about right and that choice that we make in our lives is replicating God's choice of us, which ultimately, again, means is arbitrary. Okay, and so maybe keeping kosher, we're sort of reminded of our own arbitrary choice, but that's still really significant. It was arbitrary. He picked us, could have picked someone else, but he picked us, and so we have the Torah, and okay, and so that's a special thing. And do that as it may, the Torah lists things we can't eat. So of the animals, you can only eat animals that only eat animals that have split hooves and chew their cud. Okay, ruminants. Okay, that means cows, sheep, goats, bison, deer, giraffes. Okay, oxen. Okay, chew their cud and have split hooves. Anything that has one or the other, or not both, is not kosher. No camels, no horses, no pigs. Okay, no rabbits, no frogs. Okay, have to chew their cud and have split hooves. Of the fish, they have fins and scales. Okay, it's really only scales. There is no fish that has scales and not fins. So there are things that have fins and no scales. So scales, fish have to have scales. Okay, that means no shark, no catfish, no shellfish. Okay, no lobsters, no clams, no oysters. Swordfish is kind of a sturgeon, a little bit of a, gray area because they have things which are like scales, but they fall off. Generally, I think the more common practice in North American Orthodox Jewish communities is not to eat swordfish. And I think not to eat sturgeon as well, but there were communities that ate them and eat them. When it comes to birds, the Torah doesn't explicitly give us rules. It gives us just list species. The Talmud kind of intuits the rules. Birds are kosher if they are not birds of prey, and we can tell the difference based on their digestive system and based on their feet. Okay, kosher birds have 3 toes in front and 1 in back. Non-kosher birds have 2 and 2 for grasping their prey and stuff like that, perching in a certain way. Kosher birds have a certain type of digestive system. They have a gizzard that you can peel in a certain way, which is a sign of their more vegetarian diet. Ultimately, though, over the centuries, we came to eat fewer and fewer species of birds, and now we only eat birds that we have a definite, affirmative tradition that we eat this type of bird. So we have to know that it verify and validate that a Jewish community ate this bird, or this is close enough to a bird that Jewish communities ate. This thing is another variety of chicken. We know Jews ate chickens, and we know this is a chicken, so we can eat this. So chicken, quail, partridges, ducks, geese, turkeys are kosher. Turkey is actually now a little controversial because, no Jews ate turkeys before the 15th, 16th century, but anatomically, they look very much like chickens, and they have a digestive system of chickens, and their feet are the right way. So most Jews eat turkey, but there's some Jews who rejected the kashrut of turkey and don't eat turkeys. So this is in the Torah itself. And the Torah also says there's certain parts of kosher animals that you can't eat. So, for example, the certain types of fat can't be eaten. The sciatic nerve can't be eaten. It's all in the Torah. Those parts of the animal have to be removed. In America, nobody bothers. They just cut the animal in half, and the back half, which has all the non-kosher parts, gets sold to the non-kosher division of the same meat processing factory. In Israel, it's worth it to go through the effort of removing the non-kosher parts so they can make kosher sirloin in Israel, right? Because they can just remove the sciatic nerve and then they can have kosher sirloin. This is all in the Torah, one way or the other. The turkey debate still ongoing. I'd say that the vast majority of Jews eat turkey. The ones who don't are the descendants of a specific 16th, 17th century rabbinic family that refrained from eating turkey. So if you have a tradition in your family, we're descendants of, Rabbi Yom Kippur and Heller, we don't eat turkey. So there are a few people like that you'll come across over, but otherwise turkey eating is pretty mainstream among Orthodox Jews today. So everything I said before is in the Torah more or less explicitly. So what would you not know if you just had the Torah? That's really core to how we eat kosher food. So one thing you would know that the rabbis added is that we're not only concerned about the non-kosher food item, we're also concerned about the taste of that non-kosher food item, just like the thing itself. In Hebrew, ta'am ki ikar. The taste is like the thing itself. So you can't eat non-kosher foods. You also can't eat things that taste like non-kosher food. The rabbis imagined taste as like a physical substance that was expunged, expelled, departed from non-kosher foods, and it could be absorbed into pots and pans and forks and knives, and then expelled from, or into other foods directly, and then expelled again from those pots and pans. Absorbed. So if you cook some pork in a big pot, the pot itself, the metal walls of the pot absorb the taste of the pork, and then I subsequently boil some potatoes in that pot, and then the pork taste comes out of the walls of the pot and infects the potatoes. The potatoes now are not kosher. This seems a little strange to us because we have stainless steel pots and pans mostly, which are really great. They don't absorb taste. This is not true for stainless steel, but for pre-modern alloys, like especially a cast iron skillet, it will absorb the taste of things you cook in it and will impart that taste onto things you cook in it. If you have a wooden cutting board and you cut an onion on a wooden cutting board, then you cut an apple, that apple will taste like onion. Okay, like it is in fact true. Like if you have like pre-modern kitchen ingredients, substances, they will absorb taste and then expel the taste as something else. So the rabbis, the whole system of how to have a kosher kitchen, laws of kosher, the kosher food as understood by the rabbis are built on this idea that we're not only concerned about eating the thing itself, we're also concerned about the taste contaminating something it's next to or something it's cooked with, or even something cooked in a pot that had cooked something non-kosher. So that's how you get to the requirement that, to observe the laws of kosher food eating, it's not enough to just have, ingredients that the Torah endorses. We also have to eat foods that exclusively eat foods that were cooked in kosher kitchens. It's a kitchen that was used for non-kosher food, like the pots, the pans, the forks, that, have absorbed taste from non-kosher food, and that taste then is expunged back into the otherwise kosher food that we try to cook in those places. Next, so how does, sorry, I'm still in C, methods of absorption. So taste is absorbed through heat and so alternate meats like corn and possum beyond it new. No, so when I say the taste of the thing is like, I don't mean like the taste in the sense of like bacon bits taste like bacon, but they're made from. No one ever thought that was. It's not the taste in the sense of like, I've chemically recreated the experience of eating this non-kosher food substance. It's when I say the taste, I mean the actual flavor of the the molecules of non-kosher food that impart flavor being, absorbed by another substance it's cooked with or into the walls of the pot. So all of these fake meats have kosher certification. There was a controversy with Impossible Pork, which is not yet on the market. The OU, which supervises many other similar products, said, pork's going to be in big letters on the package. We don't want to give a supervision to it. I think it's a ridiculous decision. Hopefully some other agency comes in and supervises it, but in general, because lots of things that are fake non-kosher foods have kosher supervision, and I don't think that's considered controversial. Taste is transferred at high heat, and taste is transferred through like things being soaked together for 25 hours. So if you have a non-kosher or something, if a mouse falls into your barrel of beer and the mouse is not kosher, it stays there for a day and you fish it out. So that mousy flavor has now spread throughout the barrel of beer. The beer is not kosher. Or you cook something together, right? So a piece of non-kosher substance falls into your pot that you're cooking in. So its taste is instantly spread. If you remove it, the taste has been imparted because it's fell into something hot. Okay. So that means your non-kosher food cooked, your clam chowder cooked in a big soup pot, the clam flavor is absorbed by the walls of the pot, and then I cook something else in that pot, the flavor comes back out and contaminates my new food, which would have been kosher, but now it's not because it absorbed the taste of the non-kosher thing cooked in the utensil before. So really, again, you need kosher kitchens. That's what taste is imparted. The other method. Those are the big ones. Okay. Let's pause here because we're going to add in. So this is a good stopping point. We'll pause here. Okay. And I will turn off the recording and we'll talk about a time to meet next. Okay.